The International Labor Organization Fair Recruitment Initiative, partnership with the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication on Fair Recruitment, addresses issues on overseas Filipino workers and much more. Labor migration is a compelling issue worldwide as workers seek jobs overseas due to scarcity of employment opportunities in their countries of origin. The Philippines has about 10 million overseas workers, with over 1 million Filipinos leaving the country each year to work abroad. Despite the legal protection and a well-established regulatory structure for the recruitment industry, many Filipinos continue to fall victim to unscrupulous labor recruiters, becoming the focal theme of the majority of media coverage.
Names of Filipino martyrs etched in Philippine history include migrants who launched their quests for freedom and independence. Stories which hug the headlines are dominated by stories of abuse, exploitation, and discrimination.
The thing is that labor migration is now competing with different thematic different subjects like politics, like crime, elections, right? But that's the challenge for journalists, right? They have to find ways to make it current. They have to find ways to make it relevant.
An essential part of this initiative is the development of a course syllabus on reporting on labor migration and the pilot integration of the course in journalism schools.
The development of a course syllabus on labor migration will go a long way in further enriching the existing journalism curricula in universities and colleges in our country today.
You must also understand that it's an important story of the day at the global level. And it's becoming, I think, increasingly important, both because of the importance that labor migration has taken in recent years.
We looked at the CHED program outcomes for the Bachelor of Journalism and Bachelor of Arts Journalism. Then we just to help us in our thought process, we looked at the AIJC journalism program outcomes just to serve as a comparison. And then that's when we started drafting the learning outcomes for the labor migration course.
Reporting on labor migration is a 3-unit course, which aims to inform and educate journalism students on labor migration, help them generate story ideas, and enable them to report and write or produce news stories that uphold professional and ethical standards of journalism. To generate interest among journalism schools, ILO and AIJC organized and conducted the 2-day webinar for journalism educators on labor migration reporting. 34 faculty members from 19 higher education institutions in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao participated in this webinar. An overview of ILO and labor migration, the Philippine Labor Migration Management System, codes of ethics on migration reporting, views from journalists reporting on labor migration, and the course syllabus on reporting on labor migration were discussed during the webinar.
As a Filipino, it's also my dream that in our shorter history of labor migration, we also reach that maturity where everyone would want to come back to the Philippines, invest, and make our initial dreams of fulfilling a better life for our people will be realized.
Reporting has started to really develop because there's human interest stories. It's still story that captures the heart.
According to Paris-based ILO media and migration consultant Charles Ottoman, labor migration as a course is the first in the world. Ottoman facilitated the 2-day online group coaching sessions with 11 journalism educators and a 2-month series of one-on-one coaching sessions with 9 participants from 8 higher education institutions. 7 colleges and universities with journalism programs are pilot teaching the course in the first semester of 2021 to 2022.
I think you are pioneers in trying to introduce this topic in journalism education.
Well, one of the reasons why labor migration reporting has been so uneven here, and the readers or the general public don't always get a full appreciation of the situation.
That AIJC and ILO will be providing a list of these persons or organizations that we could consult or we could invite to join us on board when we are already discussing or when we're already teaching elective on reporting about labor migration.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for teaching or having this session. Just like what I
You're
said,
welcome.
I learned so much from you, and at least now it's already clear, and I also have something in mind already on how to teach this subject to my students this coming first semester.
The main point of this pilot is really to build a pool of good practices from the different HEIs so that we could present this to CHED and convince them that labor migration is a big topic, especially for journalism students.
AIJC has also made available on its website the inventory of global and local resources for reporting on migration and labor migration. Also part of the ILO-AIJC Fair Recruitment Initiative is the inclusion of the Best in Reporting on Migration Issues category in the Philippine Press Institute's annual Civic Journalism Community Press Awards. AIJC and ILO organized and conducted a webinar orientation on labor migration for member publications of the Philippine Press Institute. The centerpiece of the PPI webinar orientation was the launch of the Best in Reporting on Migration Issues category for the PPI Annual Civic Journalism Community Press Award. PPI is the country's national association of newspapers and is home to 65 member publications from across the country. Founded in 1964, PPI is also the country's oldest professional media organization.
We think that it is about time that the public needs to see a lot of stories or narratives on the ground about labor migration, not only because we're putting a premium on it as an additional category in the Community Press Awards, but I think the public needs to know what's going on the ground.
Winners of the Best in Reporting on Migration Issues must exhibit excellence in coverage and reporting of local migration issues and of migrants and their families from the community. With this new awards category, it is envisioned that community newspapers will increase and improve their coverage of migrant workers and labor migration issues. The new awards category of Best in Reporting on Migration Issues is envisioned to encourage increased and improved coverage by community newspapers of migration and labor migration. The continuing and growing presence of labor migration in the country and worldwide reminds us that every migrant worker bears 100-fold stories, and journalists and educators must be the tellers of these stories.